Guys, this is Tia. Let's do something different today. Let's do a pedicure, but I need to repair my toenail before I even get started. So I have a old pedicure. I did this pedicure maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I recently stumped my big toe. I need to repair that before I actually apply the gel polish that I will show later in the video. And so I'm going to do a pedicure today using a little bit of dip powder and gel to repair that tear that you see right there. And yeah, hopefully you're excited to see today's content. Now we're going to grab some acetone, we're going to grab some cotton balls, and you're going to grab some foil. One of the things I like to do is I like to cut my strips of foil up before I begin my application of the cotton balls with the acetone. It makes it a little easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm making sure that that cotton ball is covering the entire toenail, and it's also saturated with the acetone. I'm going to wrap that foil around my toe, flipping and folding it upwards to really trap in and keep in all of that body heat underneath that foil. And I'm going to do the entire foot. Now, once you've completed your entire foot, I like to grab a sock and place a sock over my foot while I'm soaking my gel off. Your gel soak off in many cases can take anywhere from like 25-30 minutes upwards to an hour to fully soak off, to fully penetrate with acetone. So I find that when I put on a pair of socks, I now still have my mobility. You want to go and clean up something, grab something, cook your dinner. Now you just don't have to just sit right there in that one spot while you're waiting for your gel to soak off. You can do a couple of things here and there with the socks on. So I hope you guys appreciate that tip. That's just something that I like to do. So here are some of the tools we're going to be using. I'm going to be using my e-file today. I'm also going to be using my Baron file and skin softener. I'm going to be using the Pumice Stone. I'm going to be using a cuticle nipper, as well as my cuticle oil, the cuticle pusher, and the nail file and buffer. I also have my foot soaker from Conair, and I have a towel on the side. Now I'm going to be sitting there soaking my feet. Yes. And once I've soaked my feet for about 15 minutes, I'll be back. Now I've transitioned from the chair of soaking down to the floor. Now that I'm on the floor, I'm in a comfortable position. I grab my towel. I've placed my towel down on the floor so that I can absorb any fallout that will happen, because my feet definitely need some TLC. So we're going to be using that Baron foot softener, and this is an amazing product. I usually get this product. I see it all the time at TJ Maxx in their beauty section. So if you see this when you're out and about in the TJ Maxx, even, try Marshall's, grab it. This is a really, really good product, and it's an amazing Christmas gift because it comes with the actual scraper, if you will. It comes with the file for your foot. So I want to show you guys, look at my foot. And again, I think my last pedicure was about maybe 3 weeks ago. So I want to show you how this file is working. It does, within seconds of spraying this softener on your foot, you will start to file off that dead skin. You're going to file off that dirt. Like, you're going to file off. It's coming off in clumps and chunks, and I love it. And I wanted to make sure that you guys just saw this. And this is not sponsored, by the way. It's just a product that I like when I'm out and about. If I'm at a TJ Maxx and I see it, I grab it. It's a really, really good product. Look at the amount of fallout that I have. And again, I'm not overstraining myself. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Look at this heel. This hoof here. Look at it. Look at how it's falling off. Just ought to be ashamed. Look. Oh, look at. Oh, look at my, whoo-wee. You just sit down, put on your Netflix and file away. And I'm telling you, you see how this is just falling, like exfoliating what? Like this is what you want to see. That product and TJ Maxx, I think it's about $9. So if you see it, definitely grab it, pick it up. It is so worth it. Now let's move on to the pumice stone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that same foot softener and I'm going to spray it on my stone. And I'm going to go over my heel with the stone just to get it even more softness and to remove more buildup that may be on my foot. So again, this is why the towel is down. You see that the skin is falling off, the dead skin is falling down. And in some cases, because make sure your stone is wet. My stone is wet, even though I sprayed it. I just put the stone in the water within the foot soak to wetten the stone up just a little bit so it could be damp. And now, as you saw, I sprayed the stone with the foot softener and I'm just going over my problematic areas just to focus on them so that I can remove all of that callousy skin, dead skin that I have on my foot. Take your time, hold your toes. I like to go up and down, especially on my big toe. Sometimes I can get some hard skin right there, callousy skin right there. So I file there, I focus on my ball. I focus everywhere on my foot, to be completely honest with you, just because I like the end result. That sort of leg rub when you've jumped out the shower and your feet are done, and you also, because I don't know about anybody else, but I can't get my feet done and not shave my legs. It might just be me. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's grab our cuticle pusher and let's start pushing back these cuticles. Before you do that, make sure you rub your work, make sure you check and your skin, your pedicure before you proceed forward, because you don't want to have to double back. So check, is it the right smoothness? Is it the softness that you're looking for? If so, let's go ahead and start pushing back our cuticles. Now, I'm being very gentle at this point, but my cuticles are very, very soft. And that's why I'm being gentle. Sometimes if you are, if your cuticles are harder and you are being a little bit more aggressive, that would make sense if it was hard. But when they're soft, you definitely want to be gentle, because you can injure yourself because the durability has basically been relaxed. It's no longer stiff. It's now much more pliable. So you just want to make sure that you're taking your time and removing and lifting not only skin, but that protein that's there, that protein sitting around your cuticle area and your side walls. I just like to just take my time and get everything and pull everything up. Now notice how I'm sitting. I want you guys to sort of figure out what's your sitting position. What is your pedicure sitting position? What's most comfortable for you? And then get into that position and do your own feet. Take your nipper, take your time, and only trim back the extra skin. You don't want to cut into the live tissue. You only want to cut dead skin. Anything outside of that will definitely cause you to have bleeds, to cut yourself, and that's not what I do. I don't cut myself. So that's just one of the things, a little tip. Take your time, get in a comfortable position. Make sure your nippers are sharp. You don't want dull nippers, and remove any additional skin and any protein membrane that you may have on your nail. Now, what I'm now doing is I'm shaping up, sorry about that, I'm shaping up my side walls and the side area. I like to taper my toenail slightly as well. So what I like to do is, as you can see, I'm going directly under that nail and somewhat tapering it, but not tapering it so much so that it's too narrow. I still want to retain as much width as I can, but I just don't want the overflow. I want it to stop at a certain point. And so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm looking at my toe, looking at it in a downward motion so I can see, okay, how does that shape look if I was looking down on the opposite side of me? And then I also look at my foot from where I sit to say, okay, do I like what I'm seeing? If I like it on both sides, then I proceed to the next step. So what I'm going to do now is I have a little bit more product here and there, and sometimes that happens. So I'm just going to grab my e-file and I'm going to go over those areas where the extra polish was and just buff that off. I'm not trying to shave anything, so I'm not going in really hard with a coarse nail bit. I'm actually using a fine nail bit, and I'm on speed probably number 3 on my e-file. I'm not going very fast at all, and again, all I'm doing is really just buffing and trying to clean up any additional product that may be still on my nail. You just want to make sure too, when you're using your e-file on your nail, that you're moving very fast. You don't want to keep your file on one particular area for a long time, because then it can start to heat up. And everybody has experienced that heat from that nail file or that buffer if it's too hard, and you going from side to side and just going in at it, and then next thing you know, that nail is starting to heat, and that heat is a real burn. It's a true reaction, so just be careful with that when you're doing your nails. I'm using a 240 nail sanding bit here, and again, very soft, not abrasive at all. Just again, polishing the skin, polishing up the nail before I start my gel manicure with the polish. I just want to make sure everything is smoothed out. I'm going to use that to again clean up the cuticle, clean up the sidewall, remove any product that I may have missed, and again give me that professional look. This is etching, in my opinion, and this is a step that is necessary if you definitely want to have that professional salon look. So now I've done all of my shaping and filing and edging, if you will. I'm now going to grab my nail file and I'm going to start shaping that free edge to my desired shape. I like it straight with slightly softened corners. So I'm going to do that to all 5 toes, and I'll be right back. Now that that's done, we're going to grab the back of my cuticle pusher and I'm going to clean underneath my nails, and I'm also going to clean up any dead skin that may be in my side walls or in the side folds, or any dirt that may be there, or any debris that could be there as well. So that's what you see me doing now. I think that this is a step, again, that you would take your time with. You know, if any, particles pop out, remove that, cut that, trim that. And yeah, make sure you're also, if you're like me, sometimes I get rough skin or extra skin under my nails sometimes. And so I like to trim that back just a tad bit. I like to wear sandals, and I find that especially when I'm wearing a lot of like low to the ground flip-flop sandals, that I sometimes get a little extra rough skin right there. So I like to trim that back just a tad bit so that my my skin on my actual toes isn't that rough either. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. Either. So that skin is not rough either. So that's what I'm doing here. You just you can kind of see it right there. I'm just trimming that just back just a little bit. I don't over trim my feet because sometimes if you trim too hard or cut too low, you can create scar tissue. That thicker skin that comes back is due to your body saying, hey, it was trauma, so let me come back thicker. So it'll never come back as thin as it was. It always comes back thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. So now that we've done that piece, I'm going to jump into actually now buffing my nails, because I want to make sure that I buff everything and smooth everything out before we start applying the gel polish. Once everything is completely buffed, I then will grab a little brush. This is my pedicure brush, and I like to just brush off my toes, dust off my toes. And this is a way for me to check my work before we proceed forward. Because if I need to remove anything at this point, I can just nip it or sand it or, file it down. But if I don't catch it before I go into my polish application, then sometimes those mistakes you will see on the back end, because it'll be like a little pebble that's sticking up or a little this that's sticking over. So I try to check everything before I move over to the repair piece and the polish. Now that I'm satisfied with my pedicure, everything looks good to go, I'm going to grab the clear powder, I'm going to grab the base gel polish, and I'm also going to grab step number 1, which is my primer. I'm going to grab a cotton wipe and some alcohol, because what I want to make sure that I'm doing, I want to wipe off my toenail. I want to make sure that I'm prepping everything. So we just did a pedicure. Great. We put some product on our toenails to help soften the cuticles. Great. But now I need to remove that. I need to strip that. So grab a little bit of alcohol and a cotton wipe that's preferably lint-free, and then wipe your toes down just so that you can remove any oil or anything, any residual residue from the foot softener off of the actual toenail before you proceed with your polish. If you find that your polish is lifting, that's because it's probably either too much oil, your nail wasn't fully dehydrated enough for the gel polish, and or you had some oils of some sort that wouldn't allow you to have a good bond with the polish to your natural nail. And because you didn't have a bond, it literally just acted as like a rubbery, you basically made your gel polish a rubber gel polish because you had oil in it, and that makes it peelable. So I'm gonna wipe my toes down with the alcohol and then grab my primer. I'm going to grab the primer and prime my toes, all 5 of them. And I'm going to add a little extra primer on the big toe just because I'm applying dip to that problem area where that crack is. So I want to make sure that I really remove and dehydrate that toenail so that that product can stick properly. Now I'm going to grab the base coat and I'm going to add just a little bit of base to that area that I chipped and cracked. And I'm doing that because when I apply my clear dip powder, I want to make sure that I'm covering that entire area. Instead of just covering that line, I want to go slightly out from where that line is, just to cover a little bit more real estate on the big toe area to reinforce that strength. So that's why I went a little further out on the demonstration there. Now you're going to cure that for 60 seconds, pull your toe out. As you can see, powder is still on top. I'm going to dust that off. Because I'm using my clear dip powder and it's extremely fine, I don't have to foul or buff it. And right now I'm checking for durability. I'm checking to see how flexible is my toenail after the repair. If it's still a little wobbly, then I would have applied another layer. But for me, it's good. The strength is there, so I don't need to apply another layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my toe separators. And the way you put your toe separators in is that you want to make sure that the outer part of the toe separator sits outside of the pinky. You want to make sure that that's there because that's going to buff your toenail, that pinky, if you like hit a corner or if anything like that. So you want to make sure that piece is sticking out on the outside of the pinky. Now I'm going to grab, still working with my base gel, and I'm going to apply a layer of that base gel to each toe. I'm going to do that, and then once I've applied that base gel to the entire foot, I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Now that our base gel coat has cured, we're now going to grab our color polish. Now I'm going to be putting on this beautiful lavender, lilac, pink shade. It comes off pinkish, lavender-ish, if you will. Like it looks lavender in real person. It looks lavender on camera. It's coming up pink. But I'm going to put this chalky color on my toes, and I'm going to do 2 coats of the color polish. Now, one thing that I will say that you will need to get is a small little Q-tip, or if you have a wooden stick or a I would say the back of like a pen or something, you want to wrap around like either a lint-free wipe and have some acetone off to the side so that you can use that to clean up any area that may have some flooding from the gel polish before you cure it. You want to just make sure that you clean that up just a tad bit and that you bring that polish down on the sides and on the side walls and that free edge. And any areas where you may see some gaps or holes, pull the skin back slightly. If you don't have a skinny brush, pull some of the skin back, get in that little crack in that crevice, and then use your little wipe to clean anything up that you may have. Cure for 60 seconds, and now we're going to apply a second coat. Again, your coats, you don't want your coats to be super thick. You want your coats to be even, but not overly thick, because that just doesn't look good. It just looks like you just have on thick ass gel polish. Like, just nice and thin, and apply your layers and make sure you're covering the toenail side to side, from bottom, top to bottom, bottom to top, and that it's even. Also, so you see right there how I sort of moved and the light came on. You want to make sure that your gel polish, for as much as possible, that your gel polish is not in front of the lamp, because you can accidentally cure that gel in the bottle. Like, you can change the consistency of the gel if that light hits it too many times for too long. It will change the actual consistency of the gel polish, and it will get in some cases it may actually completely cure. So just be mindful. Push your lamp back a little bit, apply your polish to your nails, and then when you're ready to put your toe or your hand underneath the lamp, you can pull it forward and then put it under there. But just make sure that you move that bottle. And see how I have a little flooding there? I'm just going to take the back of my cuticle pusher and clean up those areas with the skinny part of the metal end. I'm actually right here going to grab, see, that's one of those little wipes I was talking about, has a little bit of acetone on it, and I'm just wiping that around just to clean that area up. And once it's cleaned, I'm going to set my foot under the lamp for additional 60 seconds. Now I've applied the last of the color layers of the gel polish. So now I'm going to be moving on with the top glaze. The top glaze, top coat, that's what we're going to use. And the consistency with the top glaze is thicker than the base coat. And I did that intentionally. I wanted the top glaze to have just a little bit more strength, because I wanted it to sort of combat cracking that you sometimes get when you have dipped nails. And so I didn't want a thinner top glaze. I wanted something that was just a little bit more thicker. So that's what I have in the bottle, and we're going to apply that twice. I'm going to apply one layer, and again, it's not too thick that you can't play with it and use it on your dip nails and or on your natural nail. I specifically wanted the consistency to be interchangeable so that you could use it on either, and I think I nailed it. But this glaze, this top glaze is so cute. It's look at that. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. That's so cute. So I'm going to do this again. Cure for 60 seconds. I'm going to add one more layer. Now, after you've applied your last layer of the top glaze gel polish, I am now removing my toe separators. I'm looking at my work. I'm looking at the shine. I'm seeing, okay, do I need to do this again, or is everything cool? Works out, looks amazing to me, looks great. So now I'm going to apply some cuticle oil. to my actual toes, and I'm going to be rubbing that in. I hope you guys found this tutorial to be simple and easy. Again, the clear gel polishes are available on the website naildipstudio.com. And until we meet again, keep dipping. Thanks, guys.